Hello everyone. My name is Reverend Alma Dunbar Savoy, and I'm the host and creator of Abundant Living Everyday Legacy Series, and which is it's all about sharing the stories of regular people whom God has done some extraordinary things in our lives, and today is no exception. We have a fascinating story of survival, of overcoming, of persevering, and so I'm excited to share with you another fascinating story. Abundant Living Everyday Legacy Series, it's about sharing the stories of regular people, but God has done some extraordinary things in our lives. And so today, we're going to jump right in. As I said, we have a fascinating guest today. I'm going to start off. First of all, I want to thank you again for sharing your story on Abundant Living Every Day. And so we're going to start off. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself to us and just tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and then tell us how you would describe yourself.
First of all, I would first like to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. It's an honor
You're
to sit
welcome.
with you and talk to you and receive all your wisdom. You have
All
been a
right.
blessing to me along the years, you and your sister and your family. So I first
Thank you.
want to say thank you
You're
for
welcome.
thinking enough of me to even have me on your show. So I appreciate you. The second thing is, I play too much. Can I call you on Alma on the show, or do I have to?
You absolutely may.
So, a little bit about myself. My name is Stacy Ferguson. I was born and raised right here in Baltimore, Maryland. I still live in Baltimore, Maryland. I am the proud daughter of Samuel Cornick and Wilmetta Well, Cornick then, Wilmetta, what was her name? Copeland. We got to get that together. Um,
Okay.
and then I was born January 29th, 1977. I came into this world on a cold, stormy blizzard of a night. I made my entrance into this world. I grew up with my stepdad in the house, and I grew up half country, half city. So I spent my summers and on the Eastern Shore with
Oh,
my
okay.
side of the family from down there, which was a combination of my mother and my stepdad's side of the family. And then I spent my school time winters in the city going to school.
Okay.
I went to Baltimore Public City Schools. I graduated from Almighty City forever in the class of 95. Um, and I grew up a little different. I kind of knew I was always a little weird. I
Hmm.
always knew I was a little different. And I think my outlook on life and my perception of things around me was always different from everyone else's.
Hmm.
So I was always kind of okay with being. I had friends, but I never had a group of friends. I never was the in crowd. I was kind of the, weirdo that, was cool with everybody off to the side. And I was fine with that because I knew
Hmm.
I had a, like I said, I had a fun childhood. I
Okay.
grew up the best of both worlds. I get to, in the summertime, work at the local carnival on the Eastern Shore.
Oh, wow.
I got to pick crabs. So when you go to the market and you buy lump crab meat in a canister, my
Hmm.
grandmother, Helen Mae Watkins, was the person that the crab truck would come and unload the bushels of crabs, and we
Oh,
would
wow.
pick them, and they would pay us by the pound. They
Oh,
also shuck clams and oysters. My granddad on my father's side had a boat, and so they did oysters in the wintertime and
wow.
clams. So I had an awesome childhood.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's amazing. So, Stacy, we're going to talk about an incident that happened in your life. But before we talk about that, give me some context in terms of how did you meet your husband? Where did you meet him? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I have been known as the person who would always say to all my friends and my family, I'm never getting married. I'm never having kids.
Okay,
I
okay.
was I was going to be the person that traveled the world. I'm going to live fly. I'm going to look fly. I'm just going to
Mm-hmm.
travel. I'm not. I'm
Mm-hmm.
the wife
Mm-hmm.
life. That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got into an accident in 2006 in which I was on a motorcycle and we were parked on the Interstate 95, but we were on the shoulder of the road because it started raining. The next thing I know, or the next thing I remember, is waking up with the paramedic saying, "Do you know your name?" And I was like, "Who's this lady and where she come from?" The next voice I heard her say, or the next thing I heard her say was, "We're going to put you on a airplane, we're going to, or helicopter. We're going to airlift you to shock trauma. When you wake up again, you'll be at the hospital." I don't remember anything else. I woke up again and I could clearly see the doctors working on me at shock trauma. It was like an out of body experience. I could hear everything they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I just figured I was dead. When I woke up again, I could see my two best friends standing on the side of my bed crying. And there was a man, and I'm going to be totally honest of what I was thinking. There was a white man with a white collar and a black robe at the foot of the bed. I thought he was
Mm-hmm.
God, and I thought these was my friends crying over my grave.
Okay. Mm.
However, I woke up, and when I said, "Am I dead?" they bust out laughing.
Okay.
And they
Okay.
were like, "No, crazy, you're not dead. We've been waiting for you to wake up." And so he said, "No, ma'am, you're not dead. Your friends told me that you were Christian, so I'm the chaplain here. So I've been coming to pray for you every
Oh,
hour
okay.
until you woke up."
Okay. Okay. All right.
Now,
Okay.
prior to that accident, I met my husband driving down the street on my way home from doing laundry. We crossed paths. He made a U-turn and came back. I kept going. He
Mm-hmm.
followed me until I pulled over. He walked up to my car and he said, "Why'd you keep going?" I said, "Because I don't pull over for people on the street."
Mm-hmm.
And it was on Poplar Grove, which is really kind of a rough neighborhood. However, I'm from that neighborhood, so
Right.
I was fine.
Mm-hmm.
However, you just don't pull
Mm-hmm.
over on the side of Poplar Grove to meet new people.
Right. Right. Right.
But he was very persistent and he was very consistent, and he's very well, he's nice looking. He, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So I said,
That.
"Okay, we'll exchange phone numbers," but I gave him my house phone number, knowing that I'm never home. I was 29 years
Right.
old. I was single. I had my own
Yeah.
car. I had my own job. I'll give him the house number. I'm never going to be
Yeah.
there. He'll leave 1,000
Right.
messages. Eventually, he'll get tired and he'll leave me alone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was
Ne-
the plan, huh?
yes, that was the plan.
Uh-huh.
He
Mm-hmm.
called my house, and at that point, I was staying with my mother because I was transitioning into getting another apartment.
Okay.
My mother said, "This boy keep calling here for you, and if you don't tell
Mm-hmm.
him something, I'm gonna tell him, look, she don't want you. Stop calling here."
Mm-hmm.
Well, the
Mm-hmm.
next time she answered the phone to tell him that, she charmed my mother so well that she gave him my cell phone number.
Oh, oh my goodness. He was saying the right words.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Mm.
Now we were supposed to hook up that day of the accident.
Okay.
I
Okay.
brushed him off. I had the accident. When I came home from the accident, I stayed at my best friend Crystal's house.
Okay.
He was there from the day I came home until I finally gave in and said, "Okay." And then,
Okay.
so the going story was, if I was with him, I wouldn't have been in the accident.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And so
So is that something you believed, or did someone? Is that something that you just believed that because if you had been with him, you wouldn't have been in an accident?
no, that's something
Oh.
he just kept saying.
Oh. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's
Mhm.
not something
Mhm.
I believe.
Oh.
If
Okay.
it was gonna happen, I believe if it was gonna happen, it was gonna happen whether I was with you or him or somebody else. Or if I was by
Right.
myself. What's gonna
Right.
happen is
Okay.
gonna happen.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
but that's
Okay.
what he kept saying. Like that was his going joke to like win me over. Like if you had been with me, you wouldn't have been in an
Mhm.
accident. But he was there through recovery. He was there to take me to my doctor's appointments. He was there
Okay.
to help me out whenever I needed it. He was there to just kind of talk to. So I was like, okay. The other thing is, I knew he was a lot older, a lot younger than me. I was
Oh.
29
Okay.
at the time,
Okay.
and he told me he was 22.
Okay.
However, I didn't think that was right, but I was not really taking him that serious at the time. So,
Mhm.
okay, it was just
Mhm.
it's going to be, he'll serve a purpose and then he'll get rid of me or I'll get rid of him. It was
Mhm.
fine. Because remember, I'm not getting married and I'm not having kids. So
Right.
it didn't
Mhm.
matter.
Mhm.
During that time, we started spending time together and he already had a son.
Okay.
His
Okay.
son and him and the son's mother were not together and had not been together for some time. But I think his son was maybe about 4 at the time.
Okay.
And when I
Okay.
would call him, I noticed that he was always with the son and they were at the aquarium or the science center or, some
Mhm.
kind of play this or, and so I
Mhm.
think that kind of just kind of won me over. Like he really is like a good
Right.
dude.
Right. Right.
He, you
Mhm.
know, even though he's
Mm.
22, he has his own apartment, he has his own job, he has his own
Mhm.
car, he's taking care of his child. Okay,
Mhm.
maybe it
Mhm.
won't just be a just thing, but maybe there's somebody, we can have a friendship.
Right. Right.
Because
Right.
if I
Mhm.
didn't want my own kids, I definitely didn't want to be nobody's stepmother.
Mhm.
So, but
Mhm.
it was good for a friendship.
Right.
Well, in the process of me thinking it was going to be a friendship, I woke up on my 30th birthday, or we woke up on my 30th birthday, and he was like, I think you're pregnant and you need to take a pregnancy test. So I was like,
Mhm.
nah, I don't think so. I've never been pregnant in my life. I'm 30
Mhm.
years old and it's my 30th birthday. That's how we start my birthday out. I was like, uh-uh.
Uh-huh.
He was like, I think you pregnant. I was like, how you think I'm pregnant? Like, how does that
Uh-huh.
work? He was like, as a man who has a child, I feel it when the woman is pregnant. And I was like,
Okay.
yeah, okay. So he bought a pregnancy test. He actually had bought 3 of them. He was like, go take the test and we'll see.
Mhm.
So, me being the smart person that I am and sarcastic, I went and
Mhm.
on a stick and then I left it in the bathroom and got back in the bed and went back to sleep.
Mhm.
So about
Mhm.
15, 20 minutes later, he said, I knew it. And he brought all 3 tests back in the room and said, you pregnant. And all of them, they were not the line. They were all said pregnant, like
Oh,
written out.
all
I was like,
all three of them. Wow.
so
Okay.
happy
Okay.
30th birthday to me. You're pregnant.
Right. Right. Okay. 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 And so how was life for you all after the baby was born?
it was it was bliss. He was like, okay, I want to get married. I wanted to marry my first kid's mother. She wasn't ready.
Okay.
He was like, I don't want to be like baby mother. I don't want to be boyfriend or girlfriend. I want to get
Right.
married. And I
Okay.
was like, wait a minute now, this too much. I already said I didn't want to have kids or get married, and now I'm getting ready to do
Mhm.
both.
Mhm. Mhm.
But then
Mhm.
I've always my great grandfather started our church. I've
Okay.
grown up in church all my life. So I
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
we were the family that we went to church from Wednesday to Sunday.
Okay. Okay. Mhm.
So at
Mhm.
this point, I'm not getting an abortion because it's a blessing from
Mhm.
God.
Right. Mhm.
However, if this man wants to marry me and we have a child together, why not?
Okay. Okay.
So that
Okay.
was my
Okay.
train of thought. Okay, well, this must be of God if these things are happening. And I guess
Right.
I should do the right thing and marry this man.
Mm-hmm.
So everything in the beginning started off, I thought, as it should. We were happy. He knew more about kids than I did, clearly, because he had already
Mm-hmm.
had a son. All I did was babysit people's kids. So
Mm-hmm.
he was there full time. We had a daughter. He went through the whole pregnancy, doctor's appointments,
Mm-hmm.
food. I became a diabetic when I got pregnant.
Okay.
So he made sure we ate the right food, we exercised. He was there for he went above and beyond. He was anything and everything I could have asked for.
Okay.
However, I always knew he was a little ticky in the head. He's,
Okay.
but not to a point where I didn't think it was uncontrollable to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What were the signs? What were the signs for you that he was? Oh.
Anger.
Oh. Okay.
A
Okay.
argument wasn't an argument.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but because I have a mouth and I can argue with the best of them, I never
Mm-hmm.
thought about it as a sign actually in the moment. I just figured
Mm-hmm.
that's just how he is, but he's met his match. I'm not going for that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to talk to me like you talk to other women, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if we had to
Mm-hmm.
get into an argument and it kind of got a little, heated, let's
Mm-hmm.
go. It don't matter to me.
Mm-hmm. So, would you consider yourself in an abusive relationship? A
Now,
marriage?
now looking back at it, yes.
Okay, but at the time, it didn't appear
No,
to you.
no,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Okay.
At the time, I got a husband who he provides everything I need.
Okay.
Um, we were building businesses together, so we
Okay.
worked well together. Um,
Okay.
he was the person who went to all the kids' doctor's appointments. He was the PTO person. He was the volunteer for school.
Right.
So it's not like we stayed in constant arguments because we were
Right.
actually building our dreams.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I just know, like, if an argument or if it was something he thought was a certain way, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to tell him, no, it's not that way. If you just stop talking and listen, then you'll
Mm-hmm.
understand. But he already got it in his mind. No, it's what I think, and you're lying or
Mm-hmm.
you're wrong. In the
Mm-hmm.
moment, no, that
Mm-hmm.
didn't come across to me as being emotionally or, abusive. It just came
Mm-hmm.
across as he's stubborn and he's stuck in his ways.
Okay. Okay.
However,
Mm-hmm.
I've always been able to talk to him or argue with him enough for him to at least calm down to hear me out and then him come
Okay.
back and say, okay, you're right.
Okay.
I
Okay. Okay.
apologize. I was looking at
Okay.
it this way. I didn't think about it this way. But once I sat down and I actually thought about what you said, you're right. I'm wrong.
Mm.
How
Okay.
do we fix it?
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's how it
Okay.
started out.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
It did, I think it progressively just got worse. And because I was already accustomed to it, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize it was worse
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
until I think it got to a point where it was too many things wrong.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then I
Okay.
was like, okay, wait a minute now. All right, this not right, this not right, this not. And after 14 years, we shouldn't be going through certain things.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask you about the time frame in terms of how long had it, had it been?
So our
Okay.
marriage
Mm.
lasted total 14 years.
Okay.
We got
Okay.
married in 2008. The incident happened in 2020.
Okay. 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 So let's go ahead and let's talk about the incident. So you've talked about your life before the incident and what your life was like. What um, let's describe. Go ahead. Can you describe the incident for us and just kind of tell us what that was?
So,
Eh,
um,
Talk about it from. Can you talk about it from the standpoint of the day of, or pretty much the day of, or a couple of days before? Yeah.
okay. Um, the incident happened in November of 2020. In
Okay.
September of 2020, I had already left him. So
Okay.
me and the kids moved into my mother's apartment. And so we were
Okay.
separated and we were working on how to co-parent. So I
Okay.
left it open for him to come see the kids whenever he wanted to. And the
Mhm.
reason why I left him is because he started using drugs. He started drinking on a regular, and I could see that he was right before my eyes turning into a monster.
Okay. Okay.
And at that point, I said, I know God said for better or for worse, but at this point, you've got to go because I
Mhm.
don't know if I want to be here for the worst.
Okay. Okay.
He just became very aggressive. Everything was an argument. He would go missing. Then he accused me of like, I was supposed to be having sex with his brother, his best friend. I was trying to kill him. He was seeing
Mhm.
people on the side of the street and they were trying to kill him. it was
Okay.
it was gone. And so I had a conversation with his brother a week before the incident and said, if he is still acting like this, because when I see him again, physically see him again, I'm calling
Mhm.
311 and I'm putting in a wellness check for him. We had
Okay.
went to his
Okay.
house. We had went to the house that we previously shared. It was boarded up. He had all these cameras. It was like he was losing it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so his brother was like, "No, I don't think it. You left him. He's all you know for all this time, and you left him, and he's going through something. I think you just need to go back home. Y'all need to work it out. If he's acting
Mhm.
like this, I'm definitely not going back home. He needs to get help
Right.
at this point."
Right. Mhm.
So I had been talking to him for the next week, saying, "Hey, you're acting really erratic. I don't like the way this going. You need to get some help." And he said, "I agree. That's why you haven't heard from me. I took a break. I've been staying at a hotel. I've been getting myself together, and
Mhm.
I'm okay with us, not being together. And, we'll work
Okay.
on co-parenting." And then for the rest of the week, he would come get the kids. He would take them to the park. I said, okay, it seems
Mhm.
like I'm getting through to him.
Okay. Okay.
He called me on uh, the 19th, which was a third Friday night, and said, I love comedy. I'm a comedian sometimes when I feel like it. Um,
Right. Right.
so I love comedy. And so he said, hey, one of my favorite comedians, Bruce, was going to be at the Comedy Factory. And did I want to go? And I said, you
Mhm.
know what? That would be good. We could get out,
Mhm.
talk and, kind of enjoy something that we used to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I met him at our old house. I got in a car with him. And from the time I got in the car, I knew it wasn't right. I knew the
Okay.
air was thick.
Mhm. Mhm.
But again, I'm just thinking it's just the tension of us not being
Mhm.
together.
Right. Right.
And so in my mind, I said, okay, just keep it cordial, talk about the kids,
Mhm.
keep it
Mhm.
light,
Mhm.
maybe crack a few jokes. And, so I did
Mhm.
that, and then he seemed to kind of loosen up. And
Mhm.
so then when
Mhm.
we got to the comedy factory, we got out, we got our seats and we sat down. Now there's a 2 drink minimum.
Mhm.
My husband didn't drink like that. If you give him 2 Heinekens, he already drunk and over his limit. I'm driving home.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So he ordered 2 like top shelf liquor drinks. which made me a little concerned to say, okay, wait a minute, this what you're drinking? And he was like, well, yeah, I want to have a good night, and I'm just trying to relax. And I was like, okay. And then, the wife side of me said, well, of course, have a couple drinks because you get a little drunk. We like how you are when you get a little drunk. Maybe we get home and maybe we can rekindle, and maybe we can get you back on the
Right.
right track.
Right. Right.
As the night grew and as he drank his 2 drinks, it just was like, nope, this is gonna go bad. This is gonna
Mm.
go bad. He would just get up randomly and just walk around and just start looking around, and then he would come back and sit down, and I would just be like, what's wrong? I don't know. I just feel like something not right.
Mm.
And I was just like, okay. And I think at one point I might have started crying like, this
Mm.
is not my husband. I don't know this person. What
Right.
happened to him? What is
Right.
going on? And
Okay.
then the
Okay.
end of the night came. We got in the car. And when we got in the car, he just was like, you coming home. Something is going
Mhm.
on, and I'm going to find out what's going on. And I was
Mhm.
like, nothing is going on. All of this is stuff that's going on in your head. The,
Mhm.
the movie that's going on in your head is not the same movie that's going on in reality. You've
Mhm.
got to
Mhm.
listen to me. And then he just pulled off. And I think we were doing like 100 miles an hour down the um the highway to get off at our exit. And I was like,
Mhm.
please don't kill me in this car. Please don't
Mhm.
kill
Mhm.
yourself. I was like, just let me out. And he was like,
Were you
go.
saying this? Were you saying this to
Yes,
him? Oh, okay.
yes.
Okay.
And so he was
Mhm.
like, no, you gonna come home. And I said, no, you can't expect me to come home when you're acting like this. This is not
Mhm.
gonna make me come home. This is
Mhm.
gonna make me stay where I am, and you have to get some help. And the faster he drove towards the house, the more I could just see him becoming more and more outraged.
Mhm.
So I just
Mhm.
started praying, Lord, however this go down, if I got to fight, then I'll fight, but just let me
Mhm.
get out of this safely so that I can get home to my kids.
Mhm. Mhm.
The closer we
Mhm.
got to the house, he just, at some point, he just blew up. And he turned
Mhm.
around, he hit me, and I could just feel my eyes swell up. I could feel the blood running down, and I just went in fight mode, and I just started
Mhm.
fighting.
Mhm.
When I realized that we were coming up to the street that we actually lived on,
Mhm.
I I just started fighting him like harder so that either you're gonna crash or you're gonna stop, you're gonna pull over, you're gonna do something because I could see my car.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
when he went to turn the car, he slammed on the brakes. And when he slammed on the brakes, I still had my seatbelt on, so it kind of jerked me forward. But when he let off the brake, I could undo my seatbelt and
Mhm.
get out the car. I have a
Mhm.
wear and carry. I had my gun in my purse. Well, no, I had my gun in the middle armrest of the seat. I had my purse, but I had my keys in my hand.
Okay.
So when I got out his car, I just grabbed my keys. I ran to my car. I got into my car. I started the car up and I went to pull off. And when I went to pull off, I could just see him standing in front of my car shooting.
Mhm. Mhm. What was going through? Can you remember
I
what
remember
was?
everything. I remember everything. It's like a movie playing in my head. I remember everything.
Okay.
I when I looked up and I saw him shooting, I said, and I'm not going to use the language that I used, but I
Uh,
said, this MF is shooting at me.
mhm.
And when I got around the corner, I didn't even realize I was shot.
So you drove away.
I
You
drove away.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
I could see him shooting, but I had no idea I was even hit. I just looked up
Oh,
and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's shooting at me."
okay, okay.
Once I got around the corner, it was like I could hear my breath.
Okay,
I
okay,
thought it
okay,
was adrenaline. So I'm like, okay,
okay,
calm down, calm down, calm down. But
okay.
then I look down and I see blood, like
Mhm,
blood. I
mhm,
pick up the
mhm.
phone, I call 911. I tell them my name is Stacy Ferguson. I am on a white Honda um cross tour. I am on a corner of this is where I'm driving. My husband shot me and you better find him before I find him.
Okay.
Cause at this point I can't believe you shot me.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
And I I remember driving after that and then I don't remember anything.
Okay, okay,
The next thing I remember is the airbag being deployed. I
mhm.
remember the alarm going off and I could hear Jesus' voice saying, "Wake up."
Okay, okay.
I looked around. I could hear footsteps running, but I don't know. I couldn't see anything. I just heard footsteps.
Mhm,
I could
mhm,
see lights in my rearview mirror of the police.
mhm,
So I was like, "You're not going to die in this car, and they got to be able to
mhm,
find you." So where I
mhm,
crashed at was like a side street, and but it's nothing over there but like woods.
mhm,
So they would
mhm,
have literally had to look for me.
mhm,
I
mhm.
got out the car. I walked over to where the road was, and I just started waving my hand, saying, "Here I am. Help! Come get me, please." The police pulled over. He said, "Stacy Ferguson?" I said, "Yes." I said, "My mother's name is Cookie Pilot. Here's her phone number. Call her and tell her where y'all taking me and let her know I'm okay." He said, "Wait a minute. How are you okay? Look at you." I said, "I can't look at myself, sir." And he just looked like, "I can't believe this is even happening. How are you talking?" He was like, "I've already called the ambulance. I've already told them where you are. They are 2 minutes away. I just need you to stay with me until." I said, "I'm not going nowhere. You got to call my mother and tell her I'm okay. And you got to find his because I'm pissed."
So what's giving you the strength to
I am a fighter. I have always been feisty. I have always had this mouth. I have
Mhm.
always been I come in peace. However, if you choose violence, then that's where we gonna go. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
always been. I will cry first. I am a sensitive person. My feelings get hurt very fast. However,
Okay.
once I get that cry out and my feelings are off the table, we fighting.
Okay. 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 So how do you your hospitalization and all that how long are you with that, and how did you kind of move through to heal to the healing process?
I got shot 7 times. Two,
7 times.
7 times. Two in the leg, two in the left arm, three in the chest. One of the bullets that went in my chest came out my back. So I
Okay.
still have 6 bullets in me. And then due to him hitting me in the eye, I have a titanium plate that holds my eye in the socket. So I have an orbital fracture.
Okay.
I woke up in the hospital after they had to put me out once the ambulance came because I wouldn't shut up. I
Okay.
woke up in the hospital in Johns Hopkins and I could not see anything. They had me all bandaged up.
Mhm.
I could just hear.
Mhm.
And that I just remember the lady's voice to this day. I have no idea what she looks like, but I will always remember her voice. Her name was Mary Beth. She
Okay.
had just retired, and this was her first day back from retirement because they were short staffed and they needed the help in the overnight um, shock trauma or
Okay.
emergency room
Okay.
or
Okay.
ICU. Um,
Mhm.
and this was her first night back, and I was her first patient.
Mm.
So every hour she would come talk to me and she would tell me her day and she would tell me today's date is November the 20th, Johns Hopkins Hospital, and the president is Donald Trump.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
So I will
Okay.
remember those four things for the rest of my life because
Oh,
those are
okay.
the first things that I heard for the first
Mhm.
hours of me being coherent.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I stayed in the hospital for 7 days. I spent my Thanksgiving in Johns Hopkins.
Okay.
They helped me tremendously. I had
Okay.
24-hour security in front of my door because he was on a run. He did not turn himself in. They not did not catch him for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I had 24/7 security. I was under an alias name.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
unable to see anyone. No one
Mhm.
in my family or friends could come see me. I could just talk to them on the phone, and the only way that they could talk to me is that they know the code when they call. Um,
Okay.
but I had very good doctors who worked with
Okay.
me every day. I could not see. I had a tube that was draining my lungs because one of the
Mhm.
bullets pierced my lung. So I was bedridden for the first 4 days. However, once they told me I did not have to have any major surgeries, well,
Mhm.
besides
Mhm.
my eye and besides
Mhm.
them closing the bullet wounds up.
Okay. Okay.
I would not lose any function of my arms and my legs. I could
Mhm.
walk. I could talk. I could see for the moment. Eventually, I'll go blind in my left eye, but for right now, I got the good vision.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
I spent 7 days in the hospital recovering. And then I went home on a Friday after Thanksgiving. And then I had to
Mhm.
have a police escort home. And then I could not stay at my mother's house. We all had to relocate to a secret place until they found him.
Mhm. Mhm. What you talked about the doctors and the hospital and the great care that you received there. What were some of the other support systems that you had to help you cope with your your time?
My family and my friends.
Okay. Okay.
That was my
Okay.
support system. My family, my grandmother and grandfather had 8 children. My
Okay.
brother is the oldest of 8 children. One of my uncles passed away before I was born. However, the remaining seven, and then my
Mhm.
family on
Mhm.
my biological father's side,
Okay.
everybody chipped in. They made sure
Okay.
my kids had a Christmas. That,
Mhm.
well, here's the other thing about my crazy husband. He always took care of his kids no matter what, and he was always going to find a way to take care of them.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
owned a trucking company. We owned 5 tractor trailers. So we were living a good life.
Mhm. Mhm.
When he was on the run, he went shopping for them and filled up the whole back of the tractor trailer with stuff for them and me for Christmas because he was going to turn himself in if they did not catch him before then. And he wanted to make sure that we had Christmas.
Um, I'm just.
Wow. See?
I know. I know. So let me go ahead and kind of turn the corner a little bit in terms of what are you using now to help you, uh, cope and release, and what are you doing now to
A
help you
lot
do
of
that?
stuff. First and foremost,
Okay.
God.
Okay.
First and
Okay.
foremost, God. I
Okay.
have a personal relationship with God.
That
He
is so
knows
important.
my name.
All right.
I
Okay.
know when I'm on God's frequency and when I'm not. I have
Mm-hmm.
a personal relationship with God.
Okay. Okay.
That's first and
Okay.
foremost.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I do a lot of meditation,
Okay.
and I had to figure out what that actually meant. How do you meditate properly so that you get the outcome that you want?
Mm-hmm.
How do you
Right.
pray properly? There's a right and a wrong way to pray to God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So I surrounded myself with people. I surrounded myself with prayer. I surrounded
Mm-hmm.
myself with knowledge. I read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I look at a
Okay.
lot of
Okay.
history.
Okay.
History of the Bible. How was the
Okay.
Bible? Who wrote the Bible?
Okay. Okay.
How did all
Okay.
the books of the Bible become? I
Mm-hmm.
researched some Bible stories because I need to know how they apply to my life right now. These stories have
Mm-hmm.
a meaning. We go to church
Mm-hmm.
for a reason. Why do we
Right.
really go to church? We go to church in these times.
Right. Right.
So if
Mm-hmm.
I confess my love for God, if I say that I'm a Christian, how dare I not go to Him in my time of need? Because
Yeah.
guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I should be dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't do nothing
Yeah.
that great to deserve to still be here alive.
Right.
I
Right.
was a whole hellion. I should be dead.
Mm-hmm.
But if God saw fit to spare my life, how dare I not go out and testify and be a testimony for how great God is to a wretch like me
Mm-hmm.
who don't deserve it, who still
Right.
don't deserve it, who didn't deserve it then.
Right.
So God was my first. I've grown up
Mm-hmm.
in a church that was
Mm-hmm.
instilled in me since I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I know nothing happens without God,
Right.
and nothing good is going to now happen without God. So I
Exactly.
know I
Yeah.
need Him.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I meditate, I pray, I
Mm-hmm.
change the things that I was eating so much of.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
So I changed some things in my diet. I still eat what I want when I want to eat it.
Okay.
However, I don't eat it
Okay.
all the time. And I added
Okay.
some fruits and vegetables, and I added some
Mm-hmm.
things that'll cleanse my system out so that I can think clearly, so that I know
Okay.
that when God is talking to me, that I
Okay.
know His voice from my own.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So it was a process. It was not
Yeah.
one thing I did.
Okay.
And it was a lot of trial and error. I really had to
Okay.
find out what worked for me. I had to know myself. So I
Okay.
had to
Okay.
find out what makes me me.
Yeah.
What's my
Yeah.
purpose? What am I even here for? So if I know
Mm-hmm.
what my purpose is, then I'll know what I need to be able to go out and do the things that I need to do that's of God.
That is so good. That is so good. You sharing that, and also, Stacy, want to. I know you are an incredible actress, and I know you've done a couple of productions already, and I believe you're also writing. Are you
Yes,
doing some
ma'am.
writing?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so I want to talk about that a little bit. Tell me about that. What does that do for you, and how, sharing through those creative processes? How, how has that helped you?
I am an overgrown 16-year-old
Okay,
in
okay,
spirit.
okay, okay,
I
okay.
find humor in the most inappropriate things. And
Well,
I try to find a comic relief in the most serious things so that
Okay.
they don't seem so stressful.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
find that when we look at things with comedian's eye to
Mhm.
make jokes about
Mhm.
things that's
Mhm.
serious, it kind of
Mhm.
frees you up to look at it in a more logical sense and
Okay.
not
Okay.
so in an emotional sense.
Yes. 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 Mhm.
So before all of this happened, I was I've always made my own shea butters, and they started out with just me having eczema and lousy skin, and I could never find something that didn't make me itch but smelled good. Um,
Mhm.
and so I started kind of trying on making my own shea butters from scratch.
Mhm.
Once
Okay.
I kind of worked some things out and added some things, then I started, my friends would be like, "Oh, you smell good. Oh, your skin looks so
Okay.
healthy. Oh, what are you
Yeah.
doing?" And so I was
Yeah.
like, "Well, I started making my own shea butters and they seemed to work for me." So they were, "All right, well, make
Mhm.
me some." And so that's
Mhm.
how it started, probably about
Okay.
18 years ago.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
was at an event where I was selling my shea butters.
Okay.
It was a church comedy event. And so
Mhm.
my mouth again is horrible, and I've always been not been this person that you see now.
Okay.
God is working with me.
Fair warning.
So it was in the basement of the church, and me and one of my best friends, she was selling oils, I was selling shea butters, and I was just kind of cracking jokes and talking smart in the background. One of the
Okay.
comedians that was at the set came and said he been watching me. He thinks I need to do comedy. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, no, I don't want to be a comedian when I grow up. They don't make money. And so he
Mhm.
was like,
Mhm.
well, what you trying to say? You broke. I know
Uh-huh.
you are.
Uh-huh.
You're a
Uh-huh.
comedian. They don't make money. We already know
Uh-huh.
this. So I just
Uh-huh.
kept everything he would say, I would have something to say back. And he
Right.
was
Right.
like, you are a comedian. I already have your card. I got it from off your stand. I'm not going to stop
Yeah.
calling you until you agree to give me 3 minutes on stage. That's all I ask. If
Okay.
you do
Okay.
3 minutes on stage, that's all you do. However it go from there, then you can decide. However, I need to see you on the stage.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
said, all right, whatever. When I got home, I told my husband about it. I was still married then. He was like,
Okay.
well, you keep all of us cracking up. I think you should try.
Right. Right. Uh-huh.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
serious? He was like, hey, just try. If it don't go well or you
Mhm.
bomb, at least you tried it. I
Right.
was like,
Right.
okay,
Mhm.
well, whatever. I said, well, if he called me, I'll try it. If he don't call me, I'm not doing it. He said, all right, fine.
Uh,
The
okay.
very next day and for the next 2 weeks, he called me nonstop until I agreed to do 3 minutes of the
Okay.
next show coming up.
Okay. Okay. Uh-huh.
He came to the house. I wrote down like a little skit of material. He came to the
Okay.
house. He sat with me and my husband. I ran through my skit. He was like, you are natural.
Uh-huh.
He was
Uh-huh.
like, I don't have to talk to you about timing. I don't have to talk
Right.
to you about, like stage present. You are
Right.
natural. So I was
Right.
like,
Right.
okay. He was like, I think you got it. I don't he gave me
Uh-huh.
like a few pointers, do this, do that, make sure this, that,
Yeah.
and the other. I was like, okay, bet. He was like, all right, let's
Mhm.
go.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
next week,
Yeah.
I told my whole family I was doing it. Everybody came out, bought tickets and supported. I
Mhm.
think it might have been
Mhm.
like 30 or 40 people there to support me.
Mhm.
I got
Mhm.
on stage, I did my skit. A star was born. And I
I
don't have
definitely
never
agree.
stopped. I've never stopped.
Uh,
So
yeah. Yeah.
anytime somebody asked me to do it or anytime they wanted me to
Yeah.
come, I,
Yeah.
I did it and I sold tickets and I got on stage. But it's
Yeah.
it's an outlet for me. It gets me to
Okay.
talk about all the weirdo stuff that goes on in my crazy head.
Okay.
It gives
Okay.
me a chance to give y'all an insight of why I've been a weirdo all my life and I'm okay with being a weirdo and how I
Right.
just perceive things that y'all think are normal and I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah.
but y'all think
Yeah.
I'm weird, but okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
outlet for me to talk about all the stuff that's in my head. Now, since the incident, it is therapy for me.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I'm a talker, as you can see.
Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm.
Um, I like talking. However, I also like helping people.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Even when I was doing comedy skits before now, I would always start off thanking God for another opportunity. And I
Mm-hmm.
will
Mm-hmm.
always end with, we got to handle each other better, we got to work better together, and we got to love each other more.
Okay.
That's
Okay. Okay.
always been my purpose.
Right.
So,
Right.
mhm,
I was going to say, I definitely agree. That's just such a perfect word. Now, I was trying to think of a word for it, but natural, and naturalist with it. Having seen, like I said, a couple of your productions, I absolutely love you, but I think that's what it is. How it's just natural. And I just want to encourage everyone hearing this story to make sure you look out for these productions. I know that Stacy has already done from Confessions Productions.
yeah,
You will see them, His Love and Her Love.
yeah,
I think you did both. I know you
yes,
did both of those,
yes,
and
part one and
yeah,
two.
part one and two, and make sure you look out for that. They're already film, so you should be able to find that. Stacy, as we try to wrap this up, I've just it has been such a riveting and dynamic conversation and your story. But let's go ahead. What message would you share with other uh, survivors or women that's in abusive situations?
Stop suffering in silence. Silence. Stop crying in
Okay,
your car. You have
that's
somebody who sees you, who hears you. It's God.
okay. Okay,
At the
that's
end
good.
of the day, God is your best friend. He hears
Okay,
your prayers and he sees
okay,
your tears. You have
okay.
to have a personal connection with God. Even if you pray that you bash him in the head the next time, give you
Mhm,
strength. But you
mhm,
have to have a personal relationship with God because he's the only person that can comfort you in this time. Reach out to
mhm,
somebody. Reach out to
mhm,
somebody. Stop being quiet about it. Stop being
mhm,
quiet about it. Somebody
mhm,
needs to know that he a jerk at home. I don't care
mhm,
what he look like to the world and to the public and he's so great or he does this or he does that. If he's abusing you at home, you got to tell somebody because once you tell somebody and they change their perception of him, his
mhm,
friends are going to now start getting on him.
mhm,
His
mhm,
mother, his sisters, his uncles, his cousins, they're going to start getting on him. They don't like it either.
mhm,
You
mhm,
got to say
mhm.
something. You got to talk to God and you got to find somebody you trust that's going to be there to answer the phone with you until you get ready to leave. You're not going to leave until you're ready.
Okay,
You
okay.
need somebody that's going to answer that phone call for you a million times to hear you
Mhm.
say you sick of it a million times until you decide it's time for you to leave. My friend
Okay.
deserted me. She said, I didn't answer the phone for you. It hurt my heart because you
Mhm.
were struggling. And every time I called you, you had the same story, but you wouldn't leave.
Mhm.
All I needed somebody was to hear me say that I'm sick and I'm tired, or I'm tired and I'm sick. So
Mhm.
find you a good friend that's going to hear you cry for years until you decide you want to leave.
Mhm.
Don't find somebody that's going to tell you they tired of hearing you say it, but you won't leave. You're not going to leave until you've had enough. God will help you have enough. God will give you the strength to walk out and not look back no matter what. When I left out, I left with the clothes on my back. I slept on an air mattress on the floor, but I knew I had to leave. And I knew God was going to help me. And I knew the village that God created for me was listening. And they was
Right.
waiting with open arms to welcome me and do whatever I needed. Find your village.
Okay.
If you can't
Okay.
find a village, you call Reverend Savoy, and she going to give you
Yeah.
my personal phone number, and you going to
Right.
call me,
All right. All
and
right.
we going to work it
Amen.
out.
Well, right, right. And that's what it's all about. It's about sharing, it's about helping, it's about sharing, our stories, what we've been through, but it's to help someone else.
Yes,
And it's to show you, as Stacy is saying, that God is able, He is here, He wants to hear you, and He is faithful to do what He said He would do. He said, if you trust me, and He said, I will never leave you, and you can call on me. So, I mean, friends, today as we wrap this up, and Stacy, I can't thank you enough, and the power of your sharing and your testimony today. Now, I just want to ask you, what would you like for your legacy to be?
is that she came and she changed the world.
Okay, okay,
That she
okay,
changed how we handle each other.
okay,
That she
okay,
let all women around the world, especially black women, know that
okay,
we special. We have a
okay.
voice. And if we join hands across the world, we can change the world. We have to take care of our kids. Our kids are our future. And you see what's going on with our kids. It's because we as women are not putting our time and our energy into our kids. We putting it into these
Mm-hmm,
men.
mm-hmm.
We putting it
Okay.
into ourselves. Materialistic stuff. We want to look a certain way. But our
Mm-hmm,
kids are falling by the wayside. We need our men to step up and check these other men who not being men. We have to change how we handle each other. So I want my legacy to be, you see all the things she went through, but she
mm-hmm,
stood for women's rights.
mm-hmm,
She
mm-hmm,
stood for women to have a voice, for them to own businesses, for us to
mm-hmm,
own land, for us to have
mm-hmm,
generational wealth, and for us to come together all around the world,
mm-hmm,
join hands and make this place a better place. Because we all
mm-hmm.
got God in us. It starts with
Mm-hmm.
us.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's nothing else for me to say. I mean, there you have it. The story of Stacy Ferguson, a story of surviving, a story, and not just surviving, but thriving and living that abundant life in Jesus Christ. Ladies and
Absolutely.
gentlemen, everyone that hears this story, I know it is going to change your life, and it is going to be a legacy for her family and her friends, and for women, like you said, all over the world, especially black women, to let you know that you can live the abundant life that Jesus Christ said that He came that we might have. There you have it, another story. Stacy Ferguson sharing her story on abundant living every day. Ordinary men and women
Yes. Welcome
sharing their
Jesus
story.
into your life.
Yeah, sharing their story about what God has done in their life and the power of overcoming, the power of believing, the power of trusting, the power of hanging on and believing in Jesus Christ. So, as the curtain falls on today's story, until the next fascinating story, dynamic story. Remember, there's a story in each and every one of us just
Absolutely.
waiting to be shared. Someone needs to hear your story. The world is about fame and fortune, and we might not be famous, but we have a story to share, and we are sharing our stories to let you know that whatever it is, God is able to bring you through. That's it for Abundant Living Everyday Legacy Series. Thank you, everyone. You'll find this story on Abundant Living Everyday YouTube channel and podcast. Thank you so much, everyone.
I love you all, Alma.
I love you too, Stacy.